Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're here to ask how tall is too tall for bigs in NBA 2K21 Next Gen. So as y'all know, if you've seen any of the gameplay or you've played it yourself, the 6'7" demigod power forward builds, they rule the game when it comes to the hybrid ability of the fact that they're a good ball handler, good three-point shooter, good dunker, and they're still very versatile when it comes to defense. Very good perimeter D, very good rebounding. Still, as you can see, it's 95 maxed out right there, and even good block on top of that. And you can still have good strength, vertical, speed, etc., stuff like that. However, we're here to talk about the people who might want to play 2 on the 2v2 or 3 on the 3v3 or even the 5 when it comes to the pro-am aspect. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you're new, for to drop a like, sub. If you're new, turn on the noties. Good stuff. Let's try this 1 to 800 likes in the first 24 hours. And without further ado, we're going to start talking about this. So, like I said, the 6'7" is about as low as I would go when it comes to being a big man, just because flat out you can't make anything shorter than that when it comes to the power forwards or centers. At center, the minimum height is 6'9", and then at power forward, minimum height is 6'7" right here. Small forward, you could go down to 6'5", but honestly, not even worth it in the first place. 6'7" is by far the best height in general when it comes to the whole game. But again, we're here to talk about the specific role of somebody who wants to play the big man when it comes to, you know, whatever the situation may be. Big man on 2v2 or big man on 3v3, big man on the 5s, whatever it may be. So we're going to go in depth, height by height, when it comes to the 6'7" all the way to 7 foot and talk about this stuff. And I hope y'all enjoy. Alright, so like I said, to start us off, we're going with the 6'7" power forward. This one right here is going to be more so for 3v3. I feel like when it comes to threes, man, versatility and stopping people from getting three-point shots rules. So to have the 95 perimeter defense with Hall of Fame clamps, still have 25 defensive badges. You know, obviously the whole low interior defense thing is obviously going to be a problem. To have low steal, yes, is also a problem, but with that comes the versatility. And honestly, if you're somebody who wants the strict role of just playing big, you don't want the ball in your hands, yes, you can sacrifice the ball handling entirely. However, I would recommend at the very least to keep that 81 speed with ball. It just makes sense in general to be able to have the Hall of Fame quick first step. And honestly, if you wanted to take the pass accuracy off, yes, I understand this as well. And on top of that, if you're somebody who still wants to play the 5s, clearly you don't want this low of free throw, and that will be a problem. So if you want to sacrifice some mid-range to be able to put that into free throw instead, or like I said, you want to sacrifice ball handle, etc., things like interior defense, steal, to be able to get the free throw, that's understood. Now, if you're going to max out this free throw entirely, I gotta say, man, like this stuff gets super expensive when combined with all of the other shooting attributes. So if you want to take a couple things off mid-range to be able to put it back into, it's completely understandable, but at the same time, that does eliminate you from being a mid-range threat. Now, if you're somebody who's just more worried about, okay, pick and pop from three-pointer only, if I pick and pop to the mid, I might as well just drive all the way and just go for the lob. Either way, you get the deal. If you want free throw, for the pro-am aspect of things, it can be a struggle. I'm just gonna say that. Anyway, back to the point. The 6'7" is more so just made for 3v3. If you want to run this at the 2 on 2v2, it's completely understandable as well. Again, being able to have the versatility on defense with the perimeter D, lateral quickness, and just clamps in general is super effective and really nice to be able to play sides amongst your teammate who is very likely going to have the 6'7" power forward as well. However, keep in mind, like I said, this is not exactly the best build that you can make for the 5v5 setting just because of height in general. And obviously, some people are going to want their interior defense very high upgraded if you're playing the 5 and you're running the 2-3 or anything like that and you're sitting right below the hoop at all times. I understand that, so we're going to talk about that in this video as well. Alright, so I decided for every height that I show you guys, I want to show you the best body settings in my opinion as well, aka show the best weight and wingspan that go along with that height. So in my opinion, 232 is the best weight. You get really good strength to go along with it while not losing speed in general. Now, yes, if you go minimum, you could have like 85 speed. I understand that, but then you have like 70 strength. So the way I see it, just go ahead and go to that 232. If you go any higher, you're going to lose that extra speed, but 83 speed is perfectly fine. And on top of that, I would just go max wingspan if you're trying to play as a big man. Now, if you go any lower on this, you do start to see like a real big decrease when it comes to things like block, O-board, etc., stuff like that. I believe you need 94 block for a Hall of Fame Intimidator, which you can get at 96 overall. But if you go any lower, like around 7'2", you're not going to be able to get the Hall of Fame Intimidator at any point with your player. So now we got the 6'8". This build right here, in my opinion, is the best all-around big man you can make for every setting, whether it be 2v2, 3v3, even the 5v5 pro-am, and this is why we're going to talk about this. And then as we transition to the 6'9", 6'10", and plus all the way up to 7 foot, just to let you guys know early and not waste your time, the video is going to critique those types of builds a lot as far as how many attributes they lose. If you want to stick around to that and be able to see all the types of stuff that they're going to lose, feel free to, but I'm just going to let you guys know, I think 6'8" is by far the best big man height you can make as far as 2v2, 3v3, and 5v5 all included, and especially for the 5s. Now look, this is what I want to tell you guys who are watching this video and you're looking for builds that have, you know, good free throw, good interior defense, you want to fit the pro-am mold and stuff like that. I'm just going to be here to tell you guys that if you want to have a build that's going to have maxed out free throw, have maxed out interior defense, and then be good in all 4 categories, it's going to be extremely tough. Like, the perk of this 6'8" right here is to have tremendously higher standing dunk. However, you do lose some physicals. We're going to go ahead and just detail that by just the height adjuster and show you guys what you're losing and gaining from this. But I did want to talk about badges as far as the 6'8" goes. So with all that said, I want to remind you guys why it is everybody doesn't touch their interior defense when it comes to this game, is because it flat out requires so many attribute caps without giving you barely any badges. So remind you, I'm at 95 overall right here if I literally just put one thing into speed with ball. So just consider this as 95 overall, all right? Now, if I take this off entirely, I go down 9 overalls and gives you, 9 overall points you could use elsewhere. And with that said, all you lose is 3 defensive badges. Now, me personally, I would pump this into steal a little bit. How I personally feel like I would like to make my build is this right here, 84, 84. And then be able to get badges like Interceptor on Hall of Fame, Hot Stopper on Hall of Fame. I know Heart Crusher isn't exactly the most effective in this game, but either way, you get the deal. Just unlock those badge caps, and then just in general to have good perimeter defense, have good steal. If you're playing Pro-Am, you're going to want these 2 things right here. And I understand, again, everybody's going to watch this video looking for the Pro-Am bigs, and you're going to see this 25 interior defense. You're going to absolutely hate the thought of it, and same goes with the free throw, etc., stuff like that. Now, granted, if you're somebody who is very worried about getting hacked, etc., stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie, you probably will want some free throw, but at what expense? Again, I mean, if you want to be that guy who doesn't have the ball handle or speed with ball at all you want to be able to do is grab rebounds and outlet, understood. You could just, go ahead and rock the maxed out pass accuracy and then go ahead and just have Hall of Fame bullet passer. Either way, if you like this trade-off right here, understandable, okay? I do get it to some extent. I'm sure you could go ahead and tweak around with this a little bit and get 16 shooting badges and maybe around 75 free throw. But me personally, I do like the hybrid ability of just being able to do more with the ball in my hands and stuff like that. So just keep in mind, this is my ideal setting for like a true big man, if you will. And if you're somebody who actually does play 2v2, 3v3, etc., stuff like that, here's the fire thing about this build right here, all right? So 8 is plenty enough to shoot with. Just keep that in mind. You're going to be able to go ahead and just run gold hot zone hunter, gold hot shot, and then silver catch and shoot. Or if you want to replace that with the deep threes, if you plan to be shooting a little bit deeper on pick and pops or the hash, whatever it may be. Either way, you could go ahead and replace hot shot if you even wanted to. But really, that takeover boost is crazy, man. But anyway, the perk about being 6'8", we'll go ahead and back out and talk about this real quick. But the standing dunk increase is ridiculous between this and the 6'7", and what that actually does is makes it extremely easy for you to get finishing badges. So you're going to have 21, 8, 27, and 27. Again, this is going to be more of a hybrid build. When you hit 99, you're going to be able to get the 80 ball control, which is going to give you pro dribble moves. And then also at 99, you're going to get 81 speed with ball, which is going to give you Hall of Fame quick first step. So just keep in mind, I know a lot of people be like, yo, 27 playmaking for a big man, that's so overkill, that's so OD, like why would I even want that in the first place? Keep in mind the importance of these attribute ratings itself. Like, to have low pass accuracy makes you a liability, whether it comes to getting the ball back to your point guard, even if you are somebody that doesn't like to be playing as a big man spot. And yes, I understand, again, if you're somebody who wants to be more of a shooter and just go ahead and not really do too much when it comes to the pass accuracy or have the ball in your hands, it's completely understandable if you want to go ahead and just knock that off entirely, put more into free throw. Now, boom, you become somebody who can go ahead and be a good pick and pop option, etc., stuff like that. And really, you don't have to worry about the passing too much. But what I will say, man, like I said, you throw some Stevies, some slow passes when you have this bad of pass accuracy. So just keep in mind what you're getting yourself into when you're making a build like this. But anyway, the strict differences between 6'7" and 6'8", it's kind of crazy, man. So you can see you're going from 79 standing dunk to 91 standing dunk. And then on top of that, you unlock this extra 2 ticks on the wingspan, which is going to move you up even 3 more. So you're going from 94 standing dunk to 79, just like that, just because of 1 inch of height, essentially. Now, with that said, too, at 6'7", like I said, you're going to get the Hall of Fame quick first step, pro dribble moves off rip. The only difference with the 6'8" is you have to grind for them. And granted, you could go a little bit lower on this wingspan, like 7'1" or something like that, get really good 3-pointer, and then you'd have a little bit less to worry about, whether it's, maintaining the 99 overall. You could just maintain a 98 and then you'll be good. But then if you're worried about that, you have to take the weight down to 224 because you're going to be worried about the speed with ball. Honestly, 99 is not really that hard to maintain in the first place. So I would just say to go with the 232 in the first place. And then if you want the higher 3-pointer, again, you can go with the 7'1" wingspan. But I do like the max wingspan just for the sake of being as good at rebounding and as good at shot blocking and defending as you can possibly be for your height. Now, again, to talk about the differences between this and the 6'7", then we'll get to the 6'9". I know a lot of people are fiending for the taller big and just, really want to see those builds and my take and my opinions on those and just the breakdown of the build itself. But To talk about the difference between 6'7" and 6'8" just a little bit more, we'll just go ahead and leave the wingspan at 7'4" because it's just annoying to have to, like, you know, touch that up every single time. But you can see you lose 3 speed, you're only losing 1 acceleration. However, you do lose the 4 vertical. And then on top of that, the major, most absolute crazy difference between these two heights is the perimeter defense. So the 6'7" is a lot more versatile, but the 6'8" is still versatile enough in that sense. You're going to be able to get the gold clamps and still have 86 perimeter defense if you want. So it's completely understandable. You could still get up to 90 perimeter D on top of that with a 99 boost. That's not going to be enough to get you to the Hall of Fame clamps, so just keep that in mind. No matter what you do, you could literally go minimum weight and all that stuff too. You just flat out are not going to be able to get the Hall of Fame clamps. So just understand that's part of getting this build right here. However, the 6'8" difference is huge when it comes to the standing dunk and just how much you're going to be able to catch the standing lobs. And the maxed out wingspan is going to make you a reliable threat when it comes to the standing dunks and the standing lobs, whatever it may be. Whether that's your importance for Pro-Am or 2v2, 3v3, whatever it is. Or if you don't care about this stuff, whoop-de-doo. Go ahead and go with a 7'1" wingspan. Just like that, you have the good 3-pointer. And really, truth be told to you guys, honestly, if you just plan to play park and strictly park, 6'7" is perfectly fine to be playing the big man with. I mean, flat out, you get really great vertical. You still have maxed out defensive rebound. You could still get very solid block rating. Now, I would say maybe to go higher on the wingspan if you're going to go with 6'7", but at the same time, honestly, you could still get away with 7'1" wingspan easily when it comes to playing the big man spot. Now, the thing about all this, right, is that you have to understand how the game's going to function. Even if you upgrade into your defense, it is still extremely hard to play defense in this game. Even if you go super tall, honestly, you will still get dunked on, flat out. That's just how this game functions. You guys got to just come to terms with that and understand the demigods are really just the wave when it comes to the park. Now, let's talk about 5s a little bit, all right? Now, this is where we're going to talk about the difference between a 6'8" and a 6'9". So, you're going to see tremendous like drop off when it comes to a lot of these things that I value when it comes to just playing this game in general. So, of the biggest differences, you're going to see, again, the hybrid ability of the ball handling and the speed with ball is going to completely drop down. No more ability to get the Hall of Fame quick first step. No more ability to get the pro dribble moves. Correct? Okay, so now on top of that, perimeter D and steal are going to drop off tremendously, and the perimeter defense is what I'm most worried about because on top of that, you need the 80 perimeter D to get the gold clamps. Now, you could easily just go ahead and get to like 98 overall, something like that, 99, and just maintain that. Then boom, now you got gold clamps on. It is what it is. You could play solid perimeter defense when you have to switch on. Ideally, though, when it comes to this 6'9", you're probably going to be playing on the backside a whole lot more often, and you're going to feel a lot more restricted to switching when it comes to the pick and roll stuff. Now, look, I'm going to just put it like this for any of the Pro-Am heads out there who are watching this, right? Now, I haven't played too much Pro-Am myself, but here's how I see this situation going down, okay? So, the ideal lock position is going to be 6'7", in my opinion. You're going to have max out perimeter defense. You're going to have like absolutely great defense just overall. Like you can see, the most glaring weakness is interior defense. And even if you decided to not upgrade that, the worst defensive rating on the list right here is 93 block. So overall, if you made a lock build to be a 6'7" and you're going to be guarding ball with that, you're going to be great at everything, all right? Block, like just block, interior D, perimeter D, whatever it may be, if you're making a strictly lockdown build. So if you make a 6'9", you're very limited in that sense when it comes to switching on to ball handlers or just the speed that comes with this. As far as like you can see, you drop off literally 6 speed in comparison to a 6'7", or in comparison to a 6'8", you lose 4 speed, etc. Stuff like that. I feel like these 6'9s are really not the wave. I see a lot of people in Pro-Am who are currently running with taller bigs and stuff like that, where I mean, flat out, you lose so much hybrid ability with the ball handling, so much speed, so much acceleration, so much vertical. I mean, it's only 3, I guess. But either way, the steal, the perimeter defense, etc., stuff like that, just to gain what? An inch of height? Just in general? Like, you're really not gaining anything. You're gaining 2 offensive rebound, you're gaining 2 interior defense, and you're gaining 2 strength. Other than that, it's literally like a minimal increase in anything. And actually, yeah, that's literally the only things you're upgrading. So, personally, I don't value the 6'9s at all. And then when we get even further with this, as in the 6'10s and the 6'11s, the 7 foots, and anything past 7 foot, in my opinion, is just a no-go. Just because of the fact that the power forwards get such better badge and attribute ratings when it comes to all that stuff. Now, if you're somebody who's going to be very strict in the way you want to upgrade your build, and you're not going to be upgrading anything like perimeter defense or 3-pointer or ball handle and speed with ball, then it is what it is. Like 7'3" is okay, because like flat out, the only reason that power forward is so good for the badges is because it's very good when it comes to the upgrading of things like ball handle, speed with ball, 3-pointer, and perimeter D, things that don't deal with like the big man aspect of things. So again, if you plan to go 7'3", go ahead and make a center. It is what it is. Like, nobody cares. All right. Anyway, 6'9" versus 6'10". Again, you're going to see perimeter defense drops off tremendously. Speed with ball is going to drop down by a ton, by like 8. But at this point, if you're 6'10", you really don't care about stuff like that in the first place. You're probably going to be okay with like literally just having gold quick first step, or even just not having playmaking badges in general. Now, the other tremendous increase or decrease, if you will, between 6'9" and 6'10" is the driving dunk. Now, what you can do is go ahead and take your wingspan back up all the way to be able to get the maxed out driving dunk, but it's only good for so many heights, like as far as just upgrading these things, right? So you can see if you go to 6'11", now again, like even if you max out the wingspan, your max is 89 driving dunk, and then if you go to 7 foot, even if you max out the wingspan, your max is 83 driving dunk. Now, if you're this tall, you probably don't care about that stuff in the first place. Even at that, you still have 80 driving dunk or 80 plus, which is going to give you at least one set of contact dunks. So truthfully, it is what it is. Now, if you go really high on the weight on this stuff, you're not going to be able to get that. All right. So just keep that in mind. If you're somebody who wants to be like playing bully ball and have 95 strength or something like that, you can't do that. You can't have both of those without having to grind a little bit past 99 to be able to get maybe more driving dunk ratings if you want the 95 strength. But regardless, this is how I feel about these tall bigs, man. Honestly, if you're not post scoring, don't make these. It's just flat out as simple as that. Anything past 6'9" makes absolutely no sense to make unless you're strictly running as a post scorer. Because even if you want to be Mr. Big Man, set my screen, grab my board, etc., stuff like that, all right? Look, I'm gonna be real. Anything past 6'9" is just super overkill. Like, you're gonna see the tremendous drop off in physicals and just perimeter defense and like switch ability and versatility when it comes to defense. And then just in general, like look at the speed with ball drop, bro, from like 6'8". Like you got at least 81 speed with ball when it comes to, you know, the proper way of building this right here. And then, you know, if you go around 7 foot, I mean, you got 44, bro, 44. Now, granted, we can go into this real quick and show you what a 7 foot big man is going to look like, but I'm going to just put it like this. It feels very one-dimensional when you try and create this thing because you're going to be lacking playmaking tremendously, which completely takes you out of the lineup, takes you out of the play when it comes to being a ball handler, which you already know if that's the case. And before we go into this and show you in detail what a like 6'10" or 6'11" big is going to look like, or even a 7 foot, I want to show you guys the one thing that's actually very similar when it comes to these power forward builds and just from 6'7" to 7 foot, 3-pointer. So you can see from 6'7" to 6'8" is just -1, again, just -1. And then after that, I mean, literally from 6'9" all the way to 7 foot, you still maintain the exact same 3-point rating either way. So honestly, if there's one thing that is positive about being tall, it's the fact that you really don't lose too much 3-point rating when it comes to that. Now, if we're talking like below 6'7", that's when you really start to gain tremendous amounts of 3-pointer. And then honestly, like if you wanted to make the case of like, what about a low wingspan and then like 7 foot? I mean, if you wanted to match it up, you could be okay with that. Or if you want the Hall of Fame hot zone hunter, you're gonna have to go to 6'9" at the very minimum, and that's like, it can't go any further than that. So if you want Hall of Fame hot zone hunter in particular, honestly, you'd have to make a pretty horrible big man build in the first place. And you can see, I mean, it would literally make no sense to make this build right here instead of a maxed out wingspan 6'7", and then just like that, I mean, you're tremendous when it comes to everything defensively while still having the ability to get Hall of Fame hot zone hunter. Either way, my whole point with this video is flat out 6'7" and 6'8" rules, even in the sense of a true traditional big man. I know I don't have the weight exactly where it needs to be, so just keep that in mind. But either way, honestly, the 6'8" and the 6'7s, they flat out rule when it comes to this stuff of the actual traditional big men on top of that. And then as far as the hybrid ability, I mean, it's just tremendous. Now, again, if you want to be Mr. Set My Screen, Grab My Board, and etc., stuff like that, we'll go ahead and just go into detail of how maybe you could make that build. So in my opinion, if you're going to make a build of this nature, I would say 6'10" is about as high as I would go, just for the sake that you can still get the maxed out driving dunk. You're going to want to at least have that versatility when it comes to your game. I promise you, you're going to want to have that versatility. And then if you go 6'11", again, you're going to see the driving dunk completely drops off. And then honestly, to get the 90, you'd have to go lower on the weight, which leaves you with 74 strength, which like if you're going this tall on your height, you don't want to have 74 strength as your max. That's just a fact. And then again, with how much you're limiting yourself with this height already, you'd probably want to have a high level of brick wall. So you're definitely going to want to have some pretty solid strength when it comes to these builds. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys what a 6'10" is going to look like if you're somebody who's going to be fitting this play style. All right, and then one last note, I just want to let you guys know as well, you need 64 speed with ball to even have gold quick first step. So if you're somebody who even wants to be like that, honestly, you'd have to even go 6'9" to still have good strength, to be able to upgrade your weight to have the good strength while still having that 64 speed with ball to be able to have the gold quick first step. So just keep in mind, we're going to go ahead and just make this without the quick first step and just go ahead and make this for all the people who really, like, you know, don't even care about all the stuff when it comes to just, you know, anything other than screen setting and just catching lobs and dunking. All right. Now, what I will say about this build, you are flat out going to be hard to dunk on. All right, it's as simple as that. You got 30 defensive badges, you got maxed out into your D block, you still have 82 vertical on top of that. Still solid speed, honestly, for 6'10". I mean, I understand. Like, look, I'm gonna just put it like this: 69 speed is not good. Like, that's just a fact. And when it comes to like you defending perimeter or defending one of these 6'7" demigod ISO players, like, you're gonna struggle. It's about as simple as that. And then you don't even have clamps or any chance to even get clamps. So it's going to be awful. All right, now here's where you have a couple of options if you want to go ahead and go like one of these directions with these 5 remaining overalls that you have. Now you can go ahead and just put all this into post control. It's going to give you tremendous badges when it comes to the finishing aspect. You're going to get 8 extra. Now if you want the close shot, this is as far as you can go. All right, now honestly, I feel like close shot you can get away with not even upgrading if you're just not stupid and you don't go up with standing layups that are super contested. So I feel like personally this is not something that you'd want to upgrade, just because, again, you could go ahead and only pump like 3 overall ratings into this post control. And honestly, if you want to be a post scorer, that'd be even cool too, because then at that point, you know, you're looking okay in that sense. Now you are limited when it comes to the no post hooking, because that deals with the close shot. So just keep that in mind. Or with the 5 remaining overalls that you want to go with, if you want to be able to have a little bit of a shooting option as far as being just a nice spot up catch and shooter, you know, be able to space the floor when you have a really good interior defender that's on you and you're clogging the paint for your point guard, if you will, then you could go ahead and go that aspect. Or if you want to have this hybrid ability and be able to actually do something with the ball in your hand. But again, I mean, honestly, not even worth it in that sense anyway, because you can't even get the gold quick first step. So in my opinion, that's just not even worth it in the first place. Again, if you want to go with a build like this, I would probably suggest go ahead and just put it into 3-pointer and mid-range and just be a solid, like, able to at least somewhat stretch the floor, because this game is extremely important in that sense. And if you're able to at least, you know, spread the floor while still being a pretty solid finisher, and then an absolute unit on defense and have everything maxed in this sense, well, again, still going to get exposed by the 6'7" as far as the perimeter defense goes. But either way, if you want to go with the 6'10", this is probably the best thing I could even think of as far as this stuff goes. Anyway, as far as the topic of the video and the title, how tall is too tall for a big man in NBA 2K21 Next Gen? Flat out, I feel like 6'9" is too tall. And then this is like pushing the limits, okay? I think 6'9" is okay, but as far as like 6'10" or anything higher than that, you just flat out lose ability to be a demigod in this game that is revolved around demigods. I would say anything other than a 6'7" and a 6'8", unfortunately, just doesn't have a place in this game. There are very few roles that have anything to do with this game besides a 6'7" and a 6'8". So the other roles I can think of, as far as 3v3 like competitive point guards go, I would say potentially 6'4" are pretty solid for that, just because of the tremendous speed increase you have, where it's 99 instead of like 85. As far as, you know, the difference between this and the 6'4" and the 6'7" when it comes to the power forward right here in the point guard. And then I would say post scores just in general. Like, obviously, if you're 7'3" or 7 foot or anything like that, that's the one role that you could have that doesn't deal with the 6'7" and 6'8". But to be anything other than these two heights right here in this game, flat out just doesn't really make too much sense. And I feel like 6'8" is the perfect height when it comes to being a solid big man. Again, just to remind you guys, like, this is exactly what I'm looking at right here. Or if you wanted the higher 3-pointer, again, 7'1" wingspan is pretty solid. But then again, you're losing the things like block and D-board that are extremely essential when it comes to playing into your defense and, you know, just playing big man type role in this game. And honestly, man, to close out this video, all I'm going to say is, for all the pro-am heads out there who are so fixated on trying to have the maxed out interior D and maxed out free throw, I feel bad for you, honestly. I really do, because truth be told, like, there is not very much you can do as far as trying to get this maxed out free throw. Like, look at this, man. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just talk about this, all right, for a second. Now, you can see, I have maxed out driving layup with this, correct, and I have, like, you know, 21 finishing. Okay, now I'm going to take this down as far as I can go, possibly. And I'm going to go ahead and lose 10 finishing badges. Just for the sake of what? To upgrade my free throw by 2. Like, come on, bro. Like, this stuff is so hard to, like, try and be different on in this game. So why even do it? Why even be like that, honestly? And then as far as the interior defense goes, I mean, what are you gonna do, bro? You're gonna have like minimum perimeter defense. I guess, I mean, this right here is your example. It's very easy to upgrade this in the first place. And I guess, I mean, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and just put that to, like, really, you could just max it out, honestly. Like, you can see how easy it is to max out that perimeter D. But the interior D is so hard to be able to do anything on. Flat out, if you don't have any playmaking badges or anything like that, if you're not a reliable threat with the ball in your hand, it just makes it so easy for the defense to just be like, okay, screw this dude. Like, he's not going to do nothing with the ball in his hand. Like, I personally only have 8 shooting badges myself, right? But the thing is, I mean, look at what dropping off into your defense can do for you, okay? So we're going to go ahead and just build this exact same way that I like to. So 84, 84, max out everything playmaking-wise. And again, some people, this isn't really in your like, wheelhouse, if you will, where, you know, this is not like your type, all right? But this right here is my type of build, okay? Like, this is perfect as far as my liking. And yes, I do understand the struggles I'm going to face when it comes to Pro-Am. I think I'm still going to bring this exact same build in for Pro-Am, though, personally. I mean, I understand, you know, if I'm playing the 5, interior defense being low, yes, it is going to hurt. I 100% understand that. And, you know, some people might just be of this nature where they're just like, okay, screw ball handling, screw speed with ball. I don't care about this stuff. Let me get the interior D. But look what it does for you, bro. Like, I just could never come to grips of doing this trade-off right here to where I'm just going to be like, okay, let me just drop everything off that I possibly can to get what, man? Like, ridiculously low interior defense, or to be able to try and just get my free throw up and, you know, barely get to 73. Even with that, I'm literally not a threat with the ball in my hand. I only have 11 finishing badges, and then on top of that, I mean, bro, it just becomes very bad. All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. Like I said in the intro, let's try just 1 to 800 likes in the first 24 hours. And if you made it to the end of the vid, put Pro-Am in the comments to show your support to me all the way through. To let you guys know as well, for all the viewers out there who are interested in the Pro-Am content, I'm trying my best to assemble a team as soon as I can. It's going to be Kitchen for sure, and then Dope for sure. I believe we're going to have Nut as well, playing the hash and just spotting up, and then he'll be our 5-out option as well. I'm going to be playing the big man. You guys know the deal. Screen setting, guarding their bigs as well, potentially even guarding ball as far as, like, you know, size defense, etc., stuff like that. And we'll figure out what our 5th option is going to be. I have a pretty good idea for who we're going to be having for that, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So just a little heads up for everybody. As far as the comp gameplays in you know, 2K21 Next Gen, the park stuff is just not comp. It's not different. It's not original, and it's not entertaining as far as my opinion goes. So I'm definitely excited to be trying to get into the Pro-Am stuff, and I'm going to be rocking out with that horrible free throw rating that you can see right here. Honestly, man, it is what it is. Like, I understand if I'm going to be a liability in that sense, I'm going to do my best to avoid free throw situations, avoid the ball being in my hand when we're in the bonus, etc., stuff like that, you know, just at all costs. I mean, just avoid the ball being in my hand and avoid being hacked. It's really as simple as that. But I feel like I can deal with this low interior defense easy. The close shot is not even a doubt or a debate. I feel like this is very easy to avoid, and just lob catching in general is really all I'm going to be doing in that sense, and maybe even taking some 5-out sets as far as the finishing aspect goes. But either way, I'm very excited for the Pro-Am stuff. Hope y'all are as well. I know the videos have been doing great in the past years and stuff like that as well, so super excited for that. Anyway, soft video. Hope y'all enjoyed. On that, take it easy, man. Peace.